Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we have two new movies that came out on streaming services recently. We have Spiderhead that came out on Netflix and Cha-Cha Real Smooth that came out on Apple TV+. I'll be doing a spoiler-free review for both of those movies, so if you guys enjoy this review, please make sure to like it. Please make sure to subscribe if you guys are new. But let's talk about Spiderhead first, and then we'll go into Cha-Cha Real Smooth right after. Alright, so Spiderhead, the new thriller that came out on Netflix, directed by Joseph Kosinski, who just made Top Gun Maverick, one of my top movies of this year. Spiderhead stars Chris Hemsworth, who's best known for Thor, and Miles Teller, who is best known for Whiplash, and was also just in Top Gun Maverick. Debatably, two of the biggest actors working right now, with a director that's, red hot right now, just coming off Top Gun Maverick. So, maybe some expectations coming into this movie, but, it's a Netflix original movie that came out in July. You know how these movies go. They're hot for a week or two, and then everyone forgets about them. And I have to say that this one is no different. The cinematography is good. It does have like that Netflix clean look to it. The soundtrack is fun as well. But the story is very predictable, repetitive, and something that we've already seen so many times before. We have Miles Teller, who plays a character who has a lot of trauma. So he volunteers to be put in this facility where they're testing out some new drugs. And this facility is being headed by Chris Hemsworth. And so, it's sort of like the same sort of song and dance we've seen, sort of like a Black Mirror episode type of vibe, as he's taking all these different types of drugs. And he thinks that it's just for, a safe company, and the tests are all, like I said, safe and nice. But obviously something sinister is going on here, right? So that's all I'll say. Like I said, this is a spoiler-free review. So I will say for the first half of the movie, it was fine. It sort of dives into Miles Teller's background with some trauma, like why he volunteers to go into the facility. That was somewhat interesting. If you really dive deep into like what the message of the film could be, it could be a message about trauma, guilt, pharmaceutical companies being in charge of all these drugs and doing testing. There is some sort of thought-provoking themes there. But it's, like I said, it's really repetitive in that first half as Miles Teller is just going into these tests, interacting with other volunteers, and it just seemed like there wasn't really like a big picture to the story. They gave us no hints of what's really going on. Chris Hemsworth, he was entertaining to watching this as he sort of plays like this mad scientist or mad genius type of character. That was sort of fun for him because I never really seen him in a role like this. Even though I guess, I feel like there were a couple movies that I've seen him in a role like this actually, but I can't think of it. He always does some sort of silly roles, and he also has Thor. I just feel like he does the same stuff over and over again. I think he's actually a really great actor, so I hope to see him in some more serious roles besides stuff like this. But continuing on, the second half, it does get a little bit more interesting as the bigger picture gets revealed. We get some more reveals in terms of Miles Teller's background and his character. And again, it's like entertaining. We also focus on like this love relationship with another volunteer, and I didn't care for this at all. So whenever they try to play into that or made it seem like this was like an important plot point, this relationship of love between these two characters, I just didn't buy it. It just didn't really give me any reason to care for these two characters. But honestly, my biggest quarrel with this movie is that it has an identity crisis by the end. The movie wants us to take it seriously for most of it, or at least I think it does. When you're talking about all this guilt and trauma, that's serious stuff. And the comedy in this movie, I wouldn't say it had too many comedic jokes. So when all of a sudden by the end you really have like this cartoonish ending where it felt like someone came up with the story and then didn't know how to end it, so maybe someone else came in and just made some sort of tomfoolery ending because it was literally such a different vibe. All of a sudden it's like people are making jokes, they're cracking one-liners, they're running like this cat and mouse sort of chase. It felt so cartoonish when the whole movie wasn't like that. So that's where the movie really threw me off for a loop, and I just didn't really know what to think of it anymore. It just started really to decline when it started to get sort of silly. So my rating for this movie is a 3 out of 5. I don't think it was terrible. Like I said, it did have some thought-provoking themes for most of the runtime, but with a predictable, repetitive story that, like I said, we've seen before, and that these Netflix movies are hot for like a week or two. You'll see it number 1 in top 10 for like 2 weeks, and then everyone forgets about it, right? So this one's no different. So let's just move on to Cha-Cha Real Smooth, which is a lot better movie. So Cha-Cha Real Smooth, which is out on Apple TV, is directed and starring Cooper Raiff, who also made Shithouse, which came out in 2020, which I haven't watched yet. But after watching this movie, I do want to go back and see that. But this movie is about a 22-year-old kid who's fresh out of college and just trying to figure out life. It's a very character-driven movie. If anyone's seen Shiva Baby or Lady Bird, I feel like this movie is like a love child between both those movies. As like I said, it's all about characters here. The story isn't really like this crazy grand, thriller or mystery or drama, or I guess I'd call it a romance movie, even though like it's really not a romance movie either. It's sort of like a coming of age movie, I guess is what I'd clarify this as. And this movie had a lot of good things going for it. It had comedy, it had heart, like it was a very heartfelt, like sort of emotional movie at times. I think it could resonate with a ton of people. I think there were moments that I personally resonated with it because, I'm 23 years old right now. The character's 22, fresh out of college. So there were themes or moments that I actually connected with. But for the main character, he really is his own thing. He's very unique. And I think it's a standout to have that type of character in this movie. I'd say the cinematography was good. The vibe of the movie was good. Like I said, sort of that Lady Bird sort of vibe to it. And the jokes I actually found to be really funny because they're sort of like modern dumb jokes I feel like my generation would sort of laugh at. Like my generation that we not grew up with, but now that we're like so addicted to TikTok or Instagram for like a couple of years now, we find ourselves like just making like all these dumb jokes randomly from like other stuff that we heard of from all these videos. And this main character was just randomly like just say some random stuff that we've heard from other viral videos. I just find it funny because I feel like a lot of people do that nowadays. But yeah, I mean, the best thing this movie does is that it actually makes us care for these characters. Like a movie like this could easily go over people's head because it's not really a concrete story, So it's, if you come into this movie wanting something in terms of story wise, you may walk out of it and not really get anything from it. But I think the characters, there's a lot. It's a recognizable cast. Every character sort of has their own unique story to it, and even with some characters who we don't even spend too much screen time with, the screen time that we do have with them, it's not wasted. Like everything's meaningful, and it all centers back around that main character as he's affecting all these lives around him that maybe he doesn't even know that he's affecting. So I thought it was a very heartwarming movie. Laughable. I laughed a lot at it. Dakota Johnson did great. This is maybe like my favorite role. Actually, Suspiria in 2018 is probably my favorite role from her. This might be like my second favorite role that I've seen her in. She was great. She plays like this woman who's a young mother. She has this autistic kid, and the main character sort of like falls in love with her, and so it's sort of like this. Like this is like sort of like her movie as well. She's trying to figure out like what's going through her head, and she has her own story with all these different types of people. So I can't really speak too much in the movie without spoiling it. I just realized, so I will just say that this movie is great. My rating for it is a 4 out of 5. It may even go higher on a rewatch. I see some people giving it some really high ratings, and it definitely deserves it. It's something that is, I think, unique. I think it's powerful, and I think I think the rating, like the people that are giving it such high ratings, probably resonate with the story a lot more than I did. But I have to say, even on face value, what I got was a very impressive movie. And I think this is a young director, this young actor. I'm not really sure how old he is in real life, but he's super talented. I can't wait to see what else he has in store. But that's pretty much all I got for you guys. So I'm going to upload this video maybe tomorrow morning or maybe right now, even though it is kind of late. But if you guys enjoyed this review, please make sure to like it. Please make sure to subscribe if you are new, as we keep uploading new movies and TV shows. And that's pretty much it. So have a great rest of the day, and I will see you on the next video.